back live at Stewart Field on the start of a victory, a very exciting victory for the Scarlet Hawks lacrosse team, and joined with Coach Lamitie, Chris Labasco, Paul Campbell, Aaron Ruiz on the call, and Coach, interesting, and Wendy.
Hello, Wendy.
And interesting game. You know, it was a rough start to the game. You got off to, it was a 3-0 lead, and then you called a timeout, and then seemed to kind of right the ship of it. So, my first question would be like, the 3-0 lead. How was it? They just catch you off guard, or just a quick start? Or
I think the weather was too nice.
Yeah.
For us, there wasn't enough rain, wind, and snow in the first half. We didn't know really what to expect out of them. We started a little bit early, kind of threw off our game a little bit. I think since we are such a young team, especially after a game like yesterday where we weren't challenged a lot, to be able to come into this where we knew we were going to be challenged, it's hard to get back into the momentum of understanding of like how we got to start right off from the whistle.
Yeah, and that's what I say. Like, and what the difference is as a back-to-back, especially we saw Alyssa DeLuca finally get in the game as her first game back. What, especially on a back-to-back, what does that do for your team? Is there any worry on their legs, or 2 games back-to-back?
Yeah, that's always a concern. I think yesterday, because of the game that it was, we got a lot of our subs in that didn't get to see the field today. So our legs, it wasn't being a fresh issue. I think it was mainly just what was going on in the back of our minds of how we came off of the game yesterday and the attitudes we had. So, if that game yesterday was a little of a longer game and more intense, then I think it definitely would have played more of a factor in today. So I'm really glad that yesterday went the way that it went, so that today we had somewhat fresh legs.
Absolutely.
And defensively, I think you guys adjusted well, stopped their 2 best players really, especially in the second half. But in the first half, that was the difference. Was they were just every possession it seemed like they had a goal. I think except for maybe one they did. What was the plan to adjust to what they were doing? Because there's a lot of off-ball stuff too that they were scoring
on. Honestly, we didn't really change much defensively at all. It was really
just
all
focus.
about draw control, getting the ball and controlling the ball on offense, and putting the ball in the back of the net. Because it really seemed like, and you guys probably noticed how it seemed like whoever had the ball last was going to win the game.
Who's going to win the game? Right? Yes, that's what we were talking about.
That's what I kind of felt the way the game was going to go. Both defenses were letting goals in. The sticks, how they were swinging their sticks, I think played to our advantage. They were a little bit more aggressive with their sticks, and that's what I told my team. I said, listen, be patient, be calm, stay under control, and that's what's going to win us this game, because they're going to take themselves out of the game, and I think that's exactly what happened.
They definitely did. There was also the 2 disallowed goals, and I thought that it was did they ask for the 1 stick check on you guys?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, so they asked for a stick check on us, and I did it again to them, because we do that to get possession. Because now the draw's about to happen. We want the ball so that we don't have to – it's not a 50-50 ball at that point. So then if it is an illegal stick, it's our ball. Right. We can bring it down. We can ice it for, 12 minutes. I think we're at that point.
And talk about your player on the draw. I think taking all of the draws today was Renicky. And she, even though Taves was beating her, she was at least taking her out of any ground ball situations that may have came. And everybody else in the ground balls, I think that's where the game was won, was the ground ball battle.
And that's, they were getting a lot of goals because they would draw to 12. Maddie would come in underneath and almost get the ball, but then it would go overhead. It would get to 12. They turned around. Our defense was startled, and then they were able to transition really fast. So what I told Maddie at one point, I was like, don't go for the ball. Just disrupt. Just stop 12 from getting it, because you're going to win the ground ball battle. If that ball's in the ground, we're winning it. So don't worry about coming down out of the air with the ball. Just don't let 12 get the ball.
I think I even saw DeLuca playing defense on her a couple of times at points in the game, too. Was that just
Wall went down at one point, and she looked a little slow coming back, and I just wanted, Wall's great, and she's fast. DeLuca in the transition, there's just a little bit more confidence, and I wanted to be able, if we were in that spot again, to not have Wall get hurt, get pushed over, just make it back to the position with the ball.
Yeah, Coach, just really quick. You talk about rough start the game, you're down 3 goals, but you didn't take the lead until very late in the game, almost less than 10 minutes to go, and then you poured it on towards the end. And what does that say about your team, that just that you're down that much, and then you just battle back, things aren't going your way, and then you find out, and you end up playing well and finishing strong.
Yeah, it's about patience and believing in ourselves and sticking with our fundamentals. That's the biggest thing. Is I knew that we were going to be okay, and we can't freak out. If we start freaking out and trying to force things, doing the wrong thing, or the things that we're not used to doing. I'm big on, if you haven't done it in practice and you weren't successful at it in practice, don't ever step on the field and do that.
Sure.
Because you're just going to do something that you're not used to, and we're going to throw the ball away, and then the ball's going the other direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, thanks again, Coach, for another good victory. You just defended your home field nicely, and you're facing Augsburg next, right? So, what do you expect to face when you take on them?
Yeah, it's going to be a big conference game.
Oh.
We're tied with them for second place in the conference right now. They are aggressive, tall, athletic team, much like the team we saw today. They only beat the team we played today by 1. So I really see it. It's going to be a tough battle. It's a long road trip all the way up to Minnesota. So if we play the way that we played the second half of this game for the entire game, we got the game. So
okay, well, yeah, thank you again for interviewing again. Coach Lamitie, another victory for the Scarhawks. 15-11 is the score. I'm Paul Campos, Chris Labasco, Aaron Ruiz, on the broadcast. You're listening to Scarhawks Broadcast.